The only thing is that we don't have to go under completely. We don't have to wait for that moment. Let's change and let's go and be more open and go back to this kind of like a big tent idea of Ronald Reagan. And I think this is why we have helped it to some extent here in California with the, getting rid of gerrymandering and to do redistricting reform and to have open primaries.
Independents are about to overtake Republicans in California. What can California do differently?
I think independents are going to take over the Republicans, they're going to take over the Democrats also.
Picture this. Arnold Schwarzenegger, muscles bulging, strides into the political arena. On the other side, Trump, looking more like a grumpy Oompa Loompa than ever. Arnie takes aim, fires off one word, and bam! Trump's ego deflates faster than a punctured balloon. What was that magic word, and why did it send Trump into such a tizzy? Stick around as we break down this epic showdown between the Terminator and the Twitter terror. Trust me, you won't want to miss this political punch-up. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Arnold Schwarzenegger, also known as the Terminator, made the decision to enter politics in order to give Donald Trump a chance to experience his own medicine. The former president was left reeling like a cartoon character who had just collided with a wall as a result of his punch. And boy, did he deliver it. Just picture this. Arnold gives a speech in which he maintains his thick accent and protruding muscles while delivering some devastating truth bombs about Trump's leadership abilities. Alternately, perhaps more accurately, its lack of existing.
As an immigrant to this country, I would like to say a few words to my fellow Americans. President Trump sought to overturn the results of an election, and of a fair election. President Trump is a failed leader. He will go down in history as the worst president ever. The good thing is that he soon will be as irrelevant as an old tweet. Very aware of Kristallnacht, or the Night of Broken Glass. It was a night of rampage against the Jews carried out in 1938 at the Nazi equivalent of the Proud Boys.
One example of this would be watching a bodybuilding competition in which one of the competitors has, never worked out before. The people who support Trump must have been scratching their heads more than a monkey that is infested with fleas were. The man who had fought a predator, who was supposed to be the master of deals and winning, could not possibly teach their hero anything. It has come to everyone's attention that Arnold possesses not only a substantial amount of biceps, but also a considerable amount of political leverage. Arnie's criticism of Trump was not the only thing he did, however. He also did other things. Oh no, he went into full character as a history teacher. The chaos that occurred on January 6th was compared to a number of rather gloomy historical events by him. Hey Trump, your chapter's right here between things that went horribly wrong and oops, we did it again. It seemed as though he was reciting this as if he had just opened a stack of dusty old textbooks. Our imposing hero continued to demonstrate his political savvy throughout the debate. According to him, the influence of Trump was dissipating at a rate that is comparable to the T-1000 in a basin of molten steel.
And they hired a big movie star, Arnold Schwarzenegger, to take my place. And we know how that turned out. The ratings went right down the tubes. It's been a total disaster.
Arnold, I have a great idea. Why don't we switch jobs? You take over TV, because you're such an expert in ratings, and I take over your job. And then people can finally sleep comfortably again. So being from Europe, I have seen firsthand how things can spin out of control. I know there is a fear in this country and all over the world that something like this could happen right here.
How awful. I can only imagine how much more excruciating it must be to be confined between the forearm and bicep of the Terminator. It is highly probable that Trump is so enraged that he would choose to fry an egg on his forehead. The fact that he uses that thing as a safety blanket every night must be causing his face to turn as red as... Rather than merely criticizing, Arnold used some good old-fashioned facts and logic to get right to the point. This is the shocking thing about Arnold's argument. To put it another way, he brought a bazooka to engage in a thumb war. He placed a strong emphasis on the fact that the nation was being harmed by the lies and conspiracy theories that Trump was spreading, and he emphasized that true leaders should work to bring people together rather than divide them.
You famously said that the Republican Party has a problem at the box office. I heard you equate the GOP with the Titanic. Explain.
The reason why I said it was because their policies were such that they were not really including everybody. And we were losing them because we were not addressing those issues. So I was telling them, I said, look, the way you're going, by being so healthcare reform and being so anti-environment and stuff like this, we are losing and we are dying at the box office.
What do you know that is truly insane? Arnold did earn the attention of those around him. It has come to our attention that people pay attention to you when you have biceps that are the size of a basketball and a political resume that includes serving as the governor of the state that is the largest in the union. Who would have thought that the man who once proclaims, "I'll be back," would eventually return to the political arena in the United States as a rational voice? Now, everyone, get ready to get your popcorn ready because this is going to be the most unimpressive return since Trump's most recent attempt to be relevant.
His trip this year to Auschwitz, which was the first time he'd been there. Remember, his father was a Nazi. And he talked about anti-Semitism. We talked about a feud he had in the 90s with Sylvester Stallone. There's a lot there.
Feels like it's close enough to Friday already.
Yeah,
after the week
who knows what day it is.
I know.
Yeah.
All right.
Just working. There's our promo coming up Friday night at 10:30. Hope people can watch.
Absolutely. All right.
And so all of that is coming up tomorrow night on The Issue Is at 10:30, or Friday night at 10:30 on The Issue Is.
After suffering a loss of followers on Twitter, our orange friend was compelled to use his own social media site, which was a depressingly small platform. The experience is similar to that of witnessing a young child attempting to yell from the bottom of a ball pit. So, what sorts of mind-boggling concepts did Trump come up with? What exceptionally well-written rebuttals did he make? It is important to be prepared because this is the verbal equivalent of a wet noodle. Trump, in all of his wisdom, referred to Arnold as a failed governor and asserted that his films were really suck. Arnold was, in fact, a failed governor. Donnie, I would like to know if you worked on those throughout the night. It's likely that he was giving himself a high five in the mirror, thinking that he was being extremely intelligent.
What do you think about Donald Trump running for president again?
You know, I think that's the past. And I think that we have to march into the future. And I think there are very talented people in this country on the Republican side that can run. So I will go, look in the future rather than in a rear mirror.
There is, however, more to come, because Trump is an expert at politics that involves asking, "I know you are, but what am I?" He made an effort to alter the way things were going to turn out. In his assertion that Arnold was the one who was not relevant, he stated that nothing says I'm still important like desperately trying to convince people that you're still important. This is not nearly as ironic as Trump's spray tan he has. Observing a man who is balding make fun of the hair of another person is comparable to this. It was only natural that our favorite orange turd would not be able to refrain from bragging about his polling results. Everyone, he is going to win every single poll, comparable to the fact that he is at the top of the list of people who are most likely to be confused by an umbrella. It has been reported that his approval rating is lower than the odds of winning the lottery while struck by lightning. But hey, who needs facts when you have delusions? What would be the cherry on top of this dish that leaves one feeling depressed? On January 6th, Trump referred to the riot that occurred as a love fest. Absolutely, because there is no better way to express love than by threatening elected officials and breaking windows. It is comparable to referring to a dumpster fire as a warm and inviting campfire. Please, let's not be so dishonest. As satisfying as a diet soda and as weak as the coffee at the gas station, Trump's comebacks were about as satisfying as a diet soda itself. It appears that he is attempting to win the fight against Arnold by using pool noodles. After the words of the Terminator struck him more forcefully than a punch from Arnold Schwarzenegger, Trump could only flail around like a balloon that had lost its air. My fellow citizens, it would appear that the ego of Donald Trump has just been obliterated by the Terminator with the precision of a laser-guided missile. A reality TV host could be overshadowed by an action star in the political sphere, but who would have thought that this would happen? Arnie, on the other hand, is now demonstrating his political acumen, while Trump is left clutching his minuscule hand. It would appear that individuals who are already exhausted by the constant political mudslinging are finding that the remarks made by Schwarzenegger resonate with them. It would appear that he has reached for the tried and true question, can't we all just get along? It is possible that people are finally ready to say, hasta la vista, baby, to all of the polarizing bullshit that has been going around. Remember that Arnold simply threw Trump's entire presidency into the political trash can during the battle of the biceps and brains. The next time you hear Trump boasting about, well, anything at all, keep in mind that Arnold did this. It would appear that the Governator is the unanticipated hero that we have been waiting for during these crazy times.